Too much of one thing, good for nothing. Too much a good thing, never enough. I don't know why my black people cannot see. No party never care about we. Every election we so devoted. How we love up with PNM. As soon as election come and go, it's only problem after problem. How could we cope? Man lost the hope. I ain't seeing no solution. Every time PNM come in power, it takes a toll on black man. I don't want to sound like a racist, but this is what I can see. They just take care of the race, but they damn well know they have we. I want to ring me bell, wake up Eric Williams. Tell him the party from name PNM needed immediate attention. Ring me bell, wake up Mother Cornhawks. Tell she to cast a spell on we party. Not what it used to be. I ring my bell, ring my bell. I ring my bell down there. I ring my bell, ring my bell. I ring my bell down there. This thing is becoming out of hand. It's time this damn nonsense stop. If you don't sing a PNM song, from Skinner Park you'll be dropped. Calypsonian could have sing what they want. We were the spokesman for the people. Eric Duffy, Chambers Dunphy. When Kamala drunk, how she like to pee. Calypsonian know that's no way to go. Too much happening in we country. All this killing spree, young woman body, but only about PNM you could sing. All them songs playing on the radio, all you singing with Kamala do. But when PNM do a wrong thing, I hear a word from you. I want to ring my bell, wake up Mother Cosell. Every Monday she preach on Wack Radio, and is the biggest critic of Calypso. Ring my bell for Patsy and Joni. I want them two cultural lovers to know that the PNM song is Calypso. I ring my bell, ring my bell. I ring my bell down there. I ring my bell, ring my bell. I ring my bell down there. Crime will never stop in this country once black people belly empty. How could a man walk in CPEP, maintain his whole family? All you say the past reaching was so bad, so much wrong thing they done to we. Now that PNM take over, why poor people going hungry? When PNM win, all African grin. Now we get back we country. All they doing is complaining and ain't doing nothing for we. The mess already made, don't sit in the shade and ponder on we problem. Get off your ass and do it fast and find a way to solve them. I want to ring my bell, wake up Randolph Burrows. Tell him among all past police commissioners, up to now it he I prefer. Ring my bell, wake up the Lord Bryna. Tell him the state of Calypso today is a good thing he passed away.
Very interesting. Oh,
Yeah. If I have no rights to privacy, well, it's best I take off my clothes. Please apologize, Mr. AG, for uttering those silly words. When Munilal say, hush your stink mouth, the whole country come down on a heap. Nobody tell him but nothing for calling a man stupidity. Please don't get me wrong, I am PNM strong. I will stand defend my party. But when my pocket dry and empty, everyone is my enemy. All you take with Carnival Village, no Calypsonian can't make a cent. Great is the PNM, I go sing that and pay my rent. this one. I want to hear this. So much are educated black people that was born here in this island, because lack of opportunity migrated to a foreign land. When I was small, in every school hall, Eric William face you could see. Now every 5 years a new PNM, you can't identify nobody. When UNC was there, Barack Podebe, they take care of their people. Why you can't do the same thing and stop African from seeing trouble? PNM come and PNM go, it's the same plight of my people. Stop suffering the poor man and make it no young bandit here in this land. That was born here in this island. One more time. Thank you. We can take down this one. I want to hear this. So much are educated black people that was born here in this island, because lack of opportunity migrated to a foreign land. When I was small, in every school hall, Eric William face you could see. Now every 5 years a new PNM, you can't identify nobody. When UNC was there, Barack Podebe, they take care of their people. Why you can't do the same thing and stop African from seeing trouble? PNM come and PNM go, it's the same plight of my people. Stop suffering the poor man and make it no young bandit here in this land. People. Too much a one thing good for nothing. Too much a good thing never enough. I don't know why my black people cannot see. No party never care about we. Every election we so devoted. How we love up with PNM. As soon as election come and go, it's only problem after problem. How could we cope? Man lost the hope. I ain't seeing no solution. Every time PNM come in power, it takes a toll on black man. I don't want to sound like a racist, but this is what I can see. They just take care of the race, but they damn well know they have we. I want to ring my bell, wake up Eric Williams. Tell him the party from name PNM needed immediate attention. Ring the bell. Wake up Mother Cornhawks. Tell she to cast a spell on we party. Not what it used to be. I ring my bell, ring my bell. I ring my bell down there.
Ring the bell. I ring the bell down there. Good evening to you and welcome to Tuesday evening Politics 101. Lady Gypsy there, ring the bell, talking some truth, some real truth. You know, black people committed to their party. It's better the party committed to black people. She's raising a very serious question. I love my Guyanese Calypsonians. I really truly love them. But if more of them could sing like that, don't censor themselves. Lady Gypsy there, self-critique as they call it, being critical of the African party in Trinidad. And she's making the point, which I think is relevant to us, is black people, loyalty to the party, when the party is in power, out of power, it don't look after black people. She's making the assumption that Indian people do the same thing. They vote for their party and they're uncritical of their party. But her assumption is that their party do for them. Is that issue relevant to Guyana? Is that question? I think it is. And I think as the major political party, the PNC, goes into its Congress coming in a couple of weeks, I think that question is going to be on the table. Aubrey Norton, one of the contestants, the present leader, was here. And as you notice, he attempted to explain why street protest is not an effective way to go, and may have implied in the process that there are other forms of protest. What 90% of the audience heard was that he and the PNC not going for street protests, and set up a firestorm. Last night, I opened the phone and there were some people who stood with Norton on the issue, but a lot of people are critical of him. Norton has promised to come back here, and I'm trying to get him scheduled for Thursday or Friday, because he felt he was misunderstood, and he's going to be back here. That question raised there by that Calypsonian, Lady Gypsy, is a pertinent question. The relationship between the ethnic masses and their party. On the other side, the PPP, they're having their own debate. The Indian nationalists are arguing that Jagan was not Indian enough. He was into communism and so forth, and he didn't pay attention to Indian Guyanese issues. Well, the PPP has removed communism and socialism and Marxism, Leninism from their constitution. So are they signaling that now it's Indianism? They said it's ethnic, what they call it, ideological pluralism. I will ask Henry Jeffrey what that means from a PPP standpoint. Is it the PPP saying, well, okay, you all been washing your mouth on me. We're going to remove them things. And is it now, officially, we are no longer communists and socialists? Are we now officially identifying ourselves with the Indian masses who vote for us? I noticed Hamilton Green was critical of the PPP for removing socialism from their constitution. Anyhow, good evening and welcome to Politics 101 tonight. The issue is that African Guyanese are now, I think, waking up to the realization that there are times when they need the political party to represent them, but the political party is unable to represent them in that kind of way because their interests and the interests of the political party do not necessarily coincide. That if African people are feeling racially discriminated against, they're experiencing racism, and they would like the party to represent them, to speak with them. But the party is not prepared to go that far. Then what happens? Good evening. Those are critical questions that have to be answered. Dr. Henry Jeffrey, this past weekend, his column, let's see here, the PNC Congress and the African Dilemma. I think Dr. Jeffrey is grappling with that question. The PNC Congress and the African Dilemma in his column this weekend, and we're going to be talking about that and some other issues. So I think we are ready. Yes, we're about that time. Let's bring in Dr. Jeffrey. Good evening.
Good evening, David, and good evening to your audience.
Thank you very much. And I know you're not a big calypso man as such, but anything on that calypso that you want to comment on off the bat as you listen to it?
Yes. I mean, I think that she has a point. The question is, for me, when I look at politics in Guyana, perhaps in Trinidad also, both the parties that represent Indian people know that they got them just as much as the party that represent Black people. Yes, the PNC know they got you. That's the problem. The PNC know they got you, and the PPP know they got the Indians. The truth of the matter is that it means quite clearly when any government is in office, you don't have a public opinion. Public opinion divided. PPP can do what they like, mom. PNC can do what they like, mom. Now, how are you going to run a democratic government like that? The PNC can do what they like. You will rationalize it. The PPP would do what they like. They rationalize it. But they still vote for the PPP and you still vote for the PNC. Well, how are you going to get democratic politics? Democratic politics is based on the existence of a united public opinion. If you don't have that, you're going to have various forms of autocracy operating. I can give you examples of it. Look at, well, you ain't got to look around. You got to see what the PPP is doing at this stage. They want no collective bargain. They don't want that. They don't want to. And these things are constitutional things. But the system we have allows them to behave like that. They have ruined the judiciary. I didn't say that. People have said the judiciary has collapsed. Today I saw, I think I let in the press that the judiciary is moribund or something. Now, when you ruin the judiciary, which is the only other person to stand against you, you got it covered once you have the system we have. Because all of them say, go to the courts, and then you can put the thing in the court and it never come out. They delay you in the court. It's better you didn't go. Justice delayed. I think the article was, justice denied. So they can do that, and that's what they've been doing for years. Why you can think that all these years after the PPP, you can say the judiciary has collapsed. Even these are senior lawyers, not Jenny Jeffrey. Who's to blame for this judiciary collapsing? They have only hang around there for about 3 years. And why is it collapsed? Because it's the only branch of government that can take on you in terms of legalism in the political process. So you destroy that. It's destroyed. Collapse means destroyed. I mean, if you destroy that, well, you got free reign because you control the party control. That's what's bad about this system. The Guyana political party controls both the presidency and the legislature. No separation of power, dead. Separation of power is dead. They control the presidency because they put up who should be president, and they can become president with 1 seat over the 51. 1 seat majority.
In fact, it could become
you can win the presidency with 10% of the vote if nobody else gets more.
That's right.
I mean, I said that's my article. And then guess who? Is the party put him up. So who's the boss? The party leader. If the party leader is the president, well, then he accountable to nobody.
Yeah. The Calypsonian was saying there, Dr. Jeffrey, and she was talking about Trinidad in the Calypso, but maybe there is some similarity to Guyana. She's saying that, when the African party is in power, it looks after everybody but black people. And by contrast, when the Indian party is in power, it looks after its own people. That is a thesis, not just among Calypsonians, but it's a thesis that is held by some people. What do you think of it?
David, I just come from a bar to this thing. And I was saying, I cannot understand. I understand why the PPP don't want collective bargaining.
Mm-hmm.
But they had it with Gao.
Yeah.
How you gonna come to office as the PNC, the coalition, and refuse to have collective bargaining with your own union that, in a sense, support you? I mean, they're not antagonistic towards you. You do the same thing the PPP did. Well, that one I'm going to tell you, you were there, you better find out, because I can't understand it. I really can't understand how you are the public service union that the PNC was, the people licking down for years. When you come, you are doing nothing. Here you say, oh, we paid public servants. Listen to this, say, we paid public servants more. You notice what's happening there? It is they got to pay you more. The same autocratic behavior, the PPP. Is it they? But the Constitution says not you got to pay anybody more. The Constitution says that you can put up what you want to pay, but you must have collective bargaining with the people to go and let other people, because the end of the arbitration means it's not you alone anymore. People must look at it and say if what you are saying is right, is right. But that's what they do. And I'm saying, this is what they did. They want to look like, we are going to help black people. Oh, we are paying them more. But the process of governance is wrong. It's as wrong as it was under the PFPP. No. You have to have collective bargaining. The PPP gonna fight to death for it because it used that non-existence to keep black people poor. It giving you 5% from January and giving you in December, but with 5% is nothing. I mean, you have to understand these things are complicated, but even so, that is precisely so. Yes, it is true. They would say, for instance, the PNC here would say, but we have helped you. We have increased salary for public servants far more than the PPP. But there was no consensus on it. Nobody had no idea. They just sit down there. That wasn't their right to do. They were right to deal with the trade union. Might have to increase it more. It's not for Jordan or Granger or whosoever. Well, they are the two ones there in terms of finance, and to say what the people going to get, or the cabinet, as a matter of fact. They are the ones to propose what they can pay. And it's for the unions that represent the people to say, we don't accept. Well, if you don't accept, let me go first to discourse, second to conciliation, and then to arbitration. Because we don't accept what you want to pay us either. It is not your right to determine what to pay us, and then we got to accept it. You're right. As government is to propose what we should be paid, not to force us to take what you say. And you see,
Yeah.
I mean, and you know, this thing about the government being all powerful is so embedded in people's mind that they think it's now that the government can come and decide, oh, David, your salary will be $5 and you got to take it. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Dr. Jeffrey here tonight on a Tuesday night. Please share the link because we have just gotten started. Dr. Jeffrey, there seemed to be some discussion that is taking place after Aubrey Norton appeared on this program last week and was dealing with the question of street protests. Whatever he said was interpreted by the majority of those who listened that he was against street protest. And he suggested that there'll be other forms of protest. But what people took away from it was that there would be no street protests. And there has been quite a discussion. Rosedale Ford has come out and said that he is in favor of street protest. I have made the argument that to say to African Guyanese, there will be no street protest. It's like taking away guns and arms from an army and sending them into battle. I made reference to the PPP and Indian Guyanese. They hardly do street protests. It's something you always point out. Jack, you never bring anybody on the streets. But the PPP are known to use other forms of protest that are effective from their standpoint. Back in the Burnham days, they would burn cane. They used their position in the private sector to decide whether to invest or not and to influence what happens on the market. Black people have got no cane to burn. They're not in the commercial sector. And when you talk protest, then you're really talking street protest. And for their party or the leader of their party to either say no street protest or to pour cold water on street protest seems to have put him in a collision course. Your thoughts?
Well, first of all, I've written numerous times and said there are 198 types of protests, all kinds of protests you can do. Guyana is a small, a very intricate country. You know, at the most disruptive level, you realize 24 people what chaos they can cause it if they are dedicated. And if they are doing it in a political way. You see what happened in the Buxton thing. When in that 2004, 2005 things, what happened? The truth is that I bet Aubrey didn't say that there will never be street protests. What he says maybe that's not most appropriate at this time. What he did not say, and he cannot say, is what is appropriate. It's a strategic. He cannot tell you it's appropriate. So the minute he comes out and say, I am not for street protest at this point, because that is what he's saying. Anytime now street protest, no. He say, the next question you are asking him, well, then what? Because you got to protest. This constitutional reform would mean you'll have to protest. You got to get way out of this because the people you have already, you too, David, has already allowed the PPP to create a reform commission that they totally control. Totally. In Hyde's time, they said that's what they're using as a model, the 2000 thing, the reform. The chairman wasn't, the president had no right to choose the chairman. Hyde says that the commissioners would choose the chairman when they reach. Now you allow it. It passed, they go to parliament. Oh, the president in his own judgment would decide who the chairman will be. and all of that. Oh, if you do an analysis of who's there, you'll see that. So the only thing to save you now is some kind. If you want things that you can't get because of how it is formulated, is some kind of protest. But I think it would not be strategic for me to ask Aubrey, why is that protest? And as I said, all sort of other things can happen. So I know why he said that, because what the PPP has done over time is that they have, most of Africans, they're in the public service and all that, and they're related and all such a thing to relate in the public service. And the PPP has shown quite clearly that it can demote you, it's going to promote you, can promote people over you, it's going to do all sort of thing. And he is looking at that in the form of normal elections. But elections is coming, street protest. The Indians don't like street protests and all that. He put in all that in a framework and said, not at this time. But effectively, you have to ask. You can't tell him, well, what is that? What you intend to do? You said Mr. Ford said, but then he's in the context of fight with Aubrey and things. So you'll say anything when you're not in the thing to do it is when you get there, we just gotta see the difference. But the point is, he must explain also, where are you going to do this street process? Where are you going to do it? Where are you going to harm? What are you going to get? And as you said, Cherry Jagan has never come out in the streets in any way. But he had ways. He do sabotage and all them sort of things. That's how he doing Guyana. So things are there to be done. And didn't he get what he wants in the end? Yes. So I am neither here nor there on that. I think I saw somebody ask, well, then what? But then there's a strategic thing. You can ask a man, tell you in public what he intends to do.
Right.
So,
Right. Dr. Henry Jeffrey here tonight. We are discussing the question of African Guyanese and their relationship with their political party and vice versa. Do you get the impression, Henry, we were, chit-chatting before the program about being on the ground, and I was saying that you're on the ground more than I am. But do you get the sense from moving around there that there are some grumblings in relationship to that relationship with the PNC, in the sense that African people are being hammered by the PPP, whether it's the trade unions, the public service unions, whether it's the bulldozing of their homes. They're being bullied and they're being discriminated against. And their political party seems unable to stand up to the government and to get the government to ease that pressure. Do you get the sense that they're beginning to be some grumblers on the ground in relationship to African Guyanese feelings and the inability of the political party to flex any muscles at all?
In the context of the tradition of African protest, yes. Mm-hmm. African protest was quite, when you start those things, there's minority, you say more fire. Yeah, that is what you. And in that context, yes. But the question is, and that may be the question Aubrey had, he got the election coming because he's now there talking about winning the election. Last week, I heard Granger, I wrote on that saying,
yes, I was coming to that next.
You can deal with it now. Lord, I've suddenly realized that the PPP is trying to destroy black people, because that's what he said. Just put in point of hypology, but hypology wasn't there for 27 years. And he said for the last 27 years. And, he's coming to that realization. That's what they are trying to do. And so, yes, the issue is, what is it you are planning? And therefore, I am taking it that you must have a plan because of the question you ask. But it's not a question. Yes, I got vibes that people believe things should be done. People should, mobilize. And by the way, Aubrey come to that thing claiming that he can do that.
He came to power claiming that he can do that, yes.
Do just that. He can mobilize the masses to move against the PPP. That is also he has not explained. Things have changed, yes, and all of that, but he came to power, and that's why it is of massive importance to him. But as I said, it's one of those issues that you have to get around without trying to tie people down as to precisely what it is that they wanted.
Mm-hmm.
It cannot be answered in any sensible, because, as I said, we got 198 ways of protest. It's not one way of protest. Chedi Jagana hardly ever bring anybody in the streets to protest. So you got to, and as I said, you also that you can have 20 people or 12 people create chaos in this country if you want to.
If you want to. Dr. Jeffrey here tonight. And we're talking about the relationship between the African Guyanese masses who make up the bulk of not the bulk, all of the PNC's base. And some uneasiness that is beginning to show its face in the community and the discourses as they relate to forms of protest. Dr. Jeffrey, in your column, you cited the former President Granger, and you quoted him as saying that you said the former president is of the view that the PPP administration, I think you're quoting him here, PPP administrations for 27 years set out to debilitate, dominate, humiliate, and manipulate legitimate African Guyanese organizations, which ultimately was aimed at ensuring a good life for African Guyanese. And you referenced that in your column, and you started just now to talk about it. First of all, it's Granger, a former president, who has not been speaking much since he left office.
Yes.
And he is now, to me, spoken the loudest. It's come to the conclusion, like all of us have, that the PPP is out to dominate Black people. What as the former president, and who perhaps still has some influence in the PNC, what is he signaling? Or put another way, what should we, analysts and by extension the wider population, what should we take away from his recent comments on that matter? Is there something that is brewing, that is being signaled there?
If you continue reading that, you're going to see what he actually says. He says he's calling on the PPP to do the right thing.
Calling on the PPP.
Well, there's almost saying nothing. But it is saying that you call on the same people who doing it and continue to do the right thing. You think this is a church? This is not a church. The truth is, again, you have to believe that he's smarter than that. Regardless of where you might take your brain, he's not stupid. And when he says that, it's because he can't really say much more than that. He's saying, look, I recognize what you're doing to Black people, and we are calling you to the right thing. He might be in the same position Aubrey ended up in, because now he looks more absurd by just saying, I'm calling to the PNC, to the PPP to do the right thing. But the answer is, if they don't do the right thing, which they will not, because unless you're some utopian, because are they doing it, well, what will you do? That's the question. You see, we are in a, David, is a very serious problem we have. We are in a situation where the essential rights of Black people and Indian people or Amerindians determine if the party win. So if you party lose, people, the other side can do what they like to you almost. They would, they would say you knock off 7,000 Indians. They show it. They say, yeah, reform, but we're not going to have 7,000 Indians. That's Christmas time for. You don't have a right to do that. You should have gained consensus on that. There should have been, the sugar industry, I wrote on, I used massive reforms, but you need consensus. You live in an ethnic society, and not the PPP has no right to do what they're doing too. But how can even Black people or Indian people's life, their basic rights, have something to do, everything to do with if they party win the election? That should be in a Bill of Rights, untouchable. If the following is to be done, you must gain consensus across the board. Should be in the Bill of Rights, so that no party can come to power and just do things that are totally inimical to the interests of Black people without the Black people representatives say yes. And they're going to tell you, oh, we'll have gridlock. Well, we have gridlock. It's better we have whatsoever gridlock. And you're not going to have gridlock, you know. You know why you're not going to have gridlock? Because once you know you can't get away with it, you wouldn't do it. Your job is to demonstrate. Yeah, once you realize you can't get away with it, you won't do it. You know you can get away with it now, so you do it. Because your job is to show to the Guyanese people, government, I mean, that we are doing things for the Guyanese people. And if you can't get away with things and trying to do them, you're going to get nothing done. So you will have to speak to the other side. It forces you to speak to the other side. It forces you to come to some kind of consensus. Everybody, the PPP would not deny that the sugar industry needed reform. They were just got a problem about how you have been trying to reform it. And furthermore now, they come back, and I wrote it down. I said, if these people come back to power, they'll do all the very things you are saying. It will be totally incompetent, inefficient, because the industry need reform. But how worse off would you be? You'll have no idea, because nobody has do any work to show you how worse off. You can't use it. The question as the rights of no ethnic group, including Amerindians, should depending upon who party come to power.
As you can't get it much plainer, much straighter than that. We do have quite a lot to do in Guyana at the level of constitutional change. I think we have to go beyond constitutional reform and have some real changes in our constitution moving forward. But the question of party, the political party, comes back. And Dr. Jeffrey, you said in the column that the PNC is the more democratic of the two major parties, and that has consequences for contestation for office and so forth. And as we have noticed, it is spilling beyond the party. The party is going to elect the leader, but there is as animated a discussion outside of the party among the rank and file than perhaps in the party itself. I want you to speak to that issue of democracy within the political party and the benefits of that, but also the fallout that would come from that process.
Well, David, thanks. But the fallout would only come Well, look what's coming from the PPP process now. Everybody know what the PPP party is. It's undemocratic. They want people, they can't understand. They just go there, go and whisper to who to vote for whom. And this was going on for a long time. But as they said, somebody said in an article, it's not to that depth. It's not like for everybody. But there's not a real, what they call democratic centralism. That means centralism. That means the leader, the oligarchs control the whole process from time out to time in. Look, that thing should have been happened 5 years ago, right? Yeah, since 2019 or something like that. They should have Congress.
Right.
We didn't have no Congress. You hear all this quarreling about like North. No, you think and no, because the leaders say you're gonna have when we wanted that. Now some people are asking questions too. But because they're there, they ask questions, but the leadership can close it down. Now they close it down there. They can close down with all the media control and all those other things they have, and they close it down. But some people get annoyed after the thing, you see. Oh, 1 or 2 people are spilling out all over the place. They say it was a joke. This wasn't nobody elect nobody. This was people placed in positions. Now, the PNC, well, we know the PNC. And the minute you move, the reason you are moving away from the kind of oligarchy control of election processes, because every party is run by an oligarchy. A political, it's not Michelle, you do the politics thing, says since 1908 is something or something that say politics or something like that, say oligarchy. It did everything. And you say organization, say oligarchy. Because what happens is that we will join an organization, then all we start staying home and left it for 10 people to run. And they do what they like. They got, first of all, they have all the membership. They set the agenda. They know they call the meetings at the right time they want to call them. Now you seem to having that problem in the PNC now. They say, oh, 1 month, they call for it all the time, or we drop it on them on 1 month, you got a problem now. Because they're too short. But it might suit him and his people. And that's why, so I am saying that is why you're gonna have primaries. Primaries were intended to go out there to the people themselves and determine. The PNC has done it since 2011. They have attempted to do so since. People don't have nothing like that. So, I mean, there's no question. Look at the quarrel they got in the PNC. And that's good. As I said, it should be applauded. I don't mind they cussing up one another. Let them cuss up one another. That's what's supposed to happen. If it was in a normal democratic country, like I said, in the United States, there wasn't about being much room because both parties got primaries. But since the PPP don't have primaries, and it's quietism and just oligarchic control, they are showing, look how we just do everything nice. We are the democratic ones when they are the oligarchic authoritarian ones. And that's what makes a difference. I say, that don't bother me. Let them talk about each other. That's fine. It happens in any place you got democratic politics, that sort of thing happens. So, and it demonstrates the point that they are the more democratic party.
You implied in the column that the question of constitutional reform either would be raised frontally or the shadow would be over the PNC Congress coming up. It in a sense, you're suggesting it has to grapple with this notion of constitutional reform, but you're not getting that vibes. Comment on that.
I hope you're getting it, because I don't know. I hear now other platitudes. Oh, we need more use. We need vision. Nobody will tell you what this vision look like. Yeah, and that sort of thing, that's all you are finding out there. What are the specific? This is not this is not a strategic issue you can't talk about. You should be telling your people, what is this big vision you have that's different from anybody else's vision? And why should we vote for you because of this vision you have? And you want youth? It's like we used to say that is how every political party in the whole world must be to say all these platitudinous things. What we have to do is to determine, you have to come more specific, and they have to understand that this country, Janet Jackson make this point a long time ago. If the way the party system works, it is rooted in suboptimality. No party that don't have consensus across the board will ever be able to use the resources of this country sensibly. You will always, she used to put it in a more like down-to-earth way. We are doing the best we can in the circumstances, and the circumstances and they don't want me to rule, and therefore even if we can't do the best we should with the money, we are doing the best we could in the circumstances. Suboptimality. So it's rooted in that. Mm-hmm. There's no consensus. And you can't afford that now that we have resources. Now that we have resources, if you're building roads, I think I said in one article, if you're building roads, we gotta build roads gonna last 30 years. How are you gonna do that? No matter how much money you got. You have to have some, and first of all, you got to have design roads gonna last 2,000 years, but 20, 30 years. But at the same time, you'll have to build less roads any 1 year. And therefore you have to have some sort of consensus. Instead of that, we are playing the same old politics. Oh, let's go and build any old road anywhere, old place, and then in 3 years or 2 years it break up because we got to do plenty. So we are going to do all this and it break up. Nobody cares. And that is where the oil money, the oil money allows us now to build proper roads, build a university in Uganda and have a goal, because it gives you total control of who gets scholarship. Instead of building a university, how long oil gonna last? Mm-hmm. Who has determined that the program they are sending all these gold people on relates directly to a transition and when? I doubt it is now they're going and call people all over the place and say, oh, you want to go and study? But you're going to have a transition. Really and truly, sense would tell you don't pay too much money and go and send young people to go and study things about oil. Send them to study the generic subject of management. So when oil gone, they can go and manage forestry, or they can manage things. You're smart now. And you're young, you ain't going in no oil. You're going something that can allow you to do it all, but it's generic to the future development. Mm. But who have these discourses? You heard it? You heard it? You got gold. We're giving 1,000 scholarships. Giving gold as much money as giving to UG. Suboptimality.
Suboptimality. Dr. Jeffrey, let's let me just get this here. Let's Dr. Jeffrey turn our attention to the teachers' strike. The teachers are back on strike. They have been in conciliatory talks with the government, but they have gotten nowhere. They've gotten nowhere in the talks. Are you surprised that the government is not budging at all? Not even an interim 20% as the teachers have come up with as a requirement for them to go back to work.
The teachers' strike is hitting the PPP. It's at perhaps the hardest point anything can hit them. It is taking away from them the capacity if this thing continues and ends how it's supposed to end, to arbitration, it takes away from the PPP the capacity to keep Black people poor, public servants then, poor forever, because they'll have to go and reach to arbitration. And so they're not going to give in on this easy. This is what they've been doing for years. What other things? This is the only thing that gives them total power over your employment and all sorts of things. I mean, there are other things. They will say, you have a public service commission and you'll put the big party man who work in a Freedom House or something close as chairman. And you're not going to, because you do this, you do almost the same thing. If you think back. And I'm saying to you, when you do that, what you're actually saying to people is that you got control of that too. But certainly the Public Service Commission was put there. Justice must not only be done, David, we know it must be seen. But if you put a party man in a position, justice is not seen to be done. Because you are already putting a man, you're under your control to chair anything. I mean, you're going to do what you want. Justice now something must be done. It must be seen to be done. People must believe it's being done. And that is the kind of thing that has happened. I don't know if that answered your question.
Yes, it does. It does. Dr. Jeffrey, the Vice President, Jack Dio, justified the attendance at the PPP Congress of at least 2 permanent secretaries. I know, that's in keeping with the whole domination thesis. But when one takes into consideration the big controversy when the PNC declared paramountcy of the party back in 1974, it's now 50 years today, 2024. We have the PPP holding the Congress at really the seat of the National Assembly, flying their flags and so on. And we have them now justifying public servants and forgetting that they waged a serious battle against paramountcy of the party. Your thoughts?
Yeah, firstly, the conference center is a business. The parliament, I take it, is renting that place to do parliament. So the people can rent it to do the Congress or to hold funerals. For instance, luncheon, reap, them, they've been using it. So I am not certain that should be something that you should see that as paramountcy. It is true because of the whole dynamics of the thing and who controls what is they control the thing, but it is the center, but it is a thing out there for rent. Maybe you can rent it and hold a PNC conference there for all I know. But, and to the other thing about the PS, well, this has been going on for the long. Luncheon was the PS of PSs, and he used to just resign when election come, go and talk on this platform, and then come back on there and they be the head of the presidential secretariat, which is supposed to be a public service position. So we have it. I mean, these are not new things. And effectively, of course, that is not part of the British tradition. The British tradition is, like happened with Margaret Thatcher, when she came to office and asked them for a report they did for the previous Labour government, the PS refused. He said, "Ma'am, I cannot give you that. I did that for that government. But I can tell you that these were some of the concerns and so on. And that we are prepared to do a study, that a sort of paper that you think you will, you want, but we can't give a thing that we give to the Labour Party. It's a different tradition. They'll tell you that American tradition is a bit different. But if you want the tradition, that can change this in the Constitution, saying permanent secretary and no political appointments, period. It mightn't be a bad thing in our context, because if you in not Norway, anyway, and where you have a PS as the government party, you normally have the opposition as the junior man. So anytime you have a PS, the opposition has the junior man, because of the ethnic situation in that country. So it depends, but they must go and change it. They must go and change it. It doesn't, certainly, we still believe that we are working on that, but that is us. We seem to try to make people live in a framework rather than making the framework fit for the people. That's been our whole problem throughout that thing. We get the British Constitution and we don't have a public opinion. We are a divided country, but we're not dealing it. We're not organizing as a country that's divided against consensus. We have operated like a British system. They ain't gonna do it because it's a homogeneous society, and therefore it operates differently. Suriname did differently. You know? They know they are divided. So what? They say 60%. If you want to be president, you can win whatsoever, but you gotta get 60% of the votes in the parliament to become president. And to get, because of all the smallness of the various groups, I know that is almost impossible. So you got to get somebody else to come. And who do you get? Brunswick. Well, who is Brunswick? You know who's Brunswick? Ronnie Brunswick. Well, not now. So you got a different framework, but we trying to they got word for it, but we are trying to push people in the constitution. One has sit down and say, hey, boy, this is what we are, and let me try make a constitution so that we can come to consensus about how to go to development and move forward.
Dr. Henry Jeffrey here tonight, speaking to some of the pertinent issues of our time. We are getting into the silliest of the silly season. The PPP has just held their Congress, and the PNC and the AFC will be holding their Congress at the end of next month. And already the discussion, both inside of the PNC and outside of the PNC, that discussion is heating up. Dr. Jeffrey, there is talk between the PNC that incumbency will carry the day. From your experience in the two parties,
who would carry the day?
Incumbency, that there is an advantage with incumbency. And,
yes, I said that in my article.
Yeah, and you did say that in the article. In the case here of North Nile, can you elaborate for us here?
Yeah, you see already. He called the vote in the less in the. Is everybody said they want it? He called it in a month. Now you got people out there saying, but they're too short. All those things. I mean, God, company got the list. They got to know who's where. They got more or less. They can set the agenda for the conference. Oh no, they got those benefits, and that's why the oligarchy always seem to have that advantage. But at least they're open. You can be more open. And then the other side, you got to try and use the oligarchy in a way that people, me and you can be saying this now. Not sitting down in some backwater and I just fix up who should go and who, and then listen, we all fix them up. Because he don't know the outcome. He might have the advantage, but he doesn't know the outcome of what will happen. And the vote there was, the membership there, he got 967 votes, but it was 2,500 people vote. I mean, the membership that voted at that point of time, who could have voted? So he doesn't know how the other ones will turn. So calling it that, so it's open. But yes, if you're incumbent, you got an advantage. No question about that.
Incumbency and advantage, Dr. Jeffrey. Tonight, Dr. Jeffrey, thank you very much for coming through again and lending your expertise, your analysis, and your views to the program.
Thank you very much, David, and to your audience too. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Dr. Henry Jeffrey Deere. I want to thank you all for staying with me for another evening. There are about 3 people who were asking whether there are talks between the PNC and the WPA in getting the WPA back into the APNU. The answer to that question is no. The matter was raised a year ago or so, but there is no structured talks between the PNC and the WPA about the party WPA getting back into the coalition. So no discussions are taking place. That's it there. We continue to follow the teachers' strike. Tomorrow is Wednesday. Tomorrow we are going to be off. We are taking the day off tomorrow. There is a clash tomorrow with some private things to be done. So we're going to take a rest tomorrow, and we'll be back on Thursday. Most likely on Thursday we're going to try to get Mr. Norton on Thursday for his repeat appearance here. Want to thank all of you again, and we're off tomorrow, so I will see you all on Thursday. I will see you all.